Hey, it's Thomas, and I'm doing another training on your weight going up. I'm going to do a little bit more of an explainer video for those of you who have noticed that your weight has been creeping up and what to expect, and I'll do another refresher on why that's happening. So if you remember, hopefully you've seen in the past few videos about weight gain, is that when your weight goes up, it's going to go up. I mean, assuming that you're doing nothing more than adding smoothies to your diet and you're exercising, what would explain the weight gain? So the things are better hydration levels, because the weight of the water in all of your cells is going to add up to a few pounds easily. If you were starting from a dehydrated state and then now you're better hydrated, even that little bit of water in every single one of your 50 plus trillion cells will add up to a substantial amount of weight. It could be a few pounds. Totally cool. The next thing is muscle glycogen and liver glycogen. So between the two, that could be easily an extra 3 to 5 total pounds, depending on what your glycogen levels were before you started the challenge. For those of you who are in a low carb type of diet, or if you're dieting in any way, you're going to notice even more dramatic weight gain because, well, your muscles are packing on a lot more glycogen, and then your liver glycogen levels are being restored as well. So that's going to accumulate to a couple pounds easily as well. And then let's not forget the amount of food mass. So if you're basically keeping everything the same, you're eating the same amount of food or maybe even less, but you're adding all these smoothies in, just notice there's a lot of fiber, and that fiber likes to bind to other things like water and other food mass that's floating around in your intestines, depending on how quickly or how often or how big of your smoothies that you drink per session. That's got to travel through a whole football field size of intestines before it comes out. So there's a good chance that most of you aren't used to eating that much food, so you don't have that much food going through your intestines. Well, that's going to add another pound or two. Just do an experiment if you want to. Weigh your smoothies. Just weigh them by themselves. I mean, that's what you're putting into your body. So it's, of course, the weight on the scale is going to go up, but again, it's not body fat, okay? It's not going to be the same amount of weight because you're going to extract the water, you're going to urinate, you're going to also convert some of the sugar that you're eventually going to extract from the smoothies themselves. That's going to turn into sugar. Some of it's going to be oxidized with body fat and so on and so forth. And it's going to be converted into carbon dioxide and water. And you're going to exhale that stuff. But again, you're going to retain a lot of the weight of the smoothie itself because it's physically living and moving through your intestines. Okay, so again, that's going to be another 1 to 2 pounds. Again, it's not body fat. Another thing too is when you're working out. So I'm asking you to work out 50% more than you normally do. It doesn't matter if you're starting from nothing or if you're already regularly working out, now you got to do 50% more. Most of you have noticed that you're more sore, which is totally normal because that's what happens when you add 50% more workout. You're going to notice that the inflammation in your muscles you're going to have inflammation in your muscles, and it's going to be more frequent. It's going to be more often. That, depending on how much muscle you have inflamed, you're going to be holding on to a lot more water within the muscles themselves because there's inflammation going on. There's edema. I'm not talking about systemic inflammation. I'm talking about acute inflammation in the muscles themselves that you worked out. Now, depending on how inflamed they are and how big or how much muscle tissue you're talking about, that could mean a lot of fluid. So that could easily add another half a pound to 2 pounds. If you do a full body workout like the kind you do in CrossFit, oh my goodness, you're gonna see a lot of weight retained just from the fluid that's serving the inflammation in the muscles themselves. So all of that, if we're going to combine all that, you could easily account for 10 extra pounds. So that's why, for those of you who I'm looking at your weights, I'm not seeing you gain 10 pounds. At that point, then we'd start having we'd have to do a little bit more of an audit to figure out what exactly you're eating on top of the smoothies. But right now, nobody's even close to that. So you don't have to worry about that. So here's what I want you to see, and this is what I want to show you when you're tracking your weight. The first week, you hear a lot of people saying it's an adjustment period, and I want to be very specific about what that means because there's the mental adjustment and then there's the lifestyle adjustment. You have to also you can't ignore the biological adjustment that happens, and that's going to show itself on the weight scale. So when you're looking at your body weight, you're tracking it, day 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is week 1, and then you've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. This is week 2, so this is week 1, week 2, and then let's do week 3. Week 3 right here. Right now, a lot of you are experiencing this. You're seeing your weight going up like that. I'm making it very simple. Of course, it kind of looks more like this, right? It's going up and down, up and down, up and down, but it's going upward. And you're starting to see this. And I'm looking at some of your logs. We're on this is day 10. This is day 10. Some of your logs are starting to top out, and it's flattening out. So you're seeing this upward trend, and then it's flattening out. This is where all of the increase in hydration, the increase in muscle glycogen, the increase in food mass in your intestines, and also the increase in edema, inflammation in your muscles because of the extra workout. This is where the giant up ramp is happening. See, this is very normal. You would expect that to happen because a lot of you are coming in on from a state where you're less hydrated. So to add more water from the smoothies, we're going to increase in weight because we're hydrating you. Some of you are starting in a place where your glycogen levels are on the low side. So adding in all of this nice greens. Look at my room. Okay, so here's my smoothie in front of me, and all this stuff. All this stuff is going to start accumulating in your glycogen stores. And that's going to add a little bit more weight too. And then all of a sudden, I mean, look at that. I'm putting one of these in my body every single day. And that's what you're doing. You're putting one of these in your body every single day on top of everything else that you're eating. So of course, you have to expect your weight to keep going up as a result of that, right? But then what some of you are noticing is it's starting to bottom out. It's starting to bottom out. And we're not even looking at the highest highs and lowest lows. We're just looking at the fact that it's going up, and then now it's starting to flatten out. So once it gets to here, we're in the middle of week 2. This is where I can say, because I didn't mention this in the previous video. In the previous video, I only taught you the highest highs and lowest lows to understand trends. And right now, you should notice that a lot of you are trending upward. And that's okay as long as it's in the first week, because you're going from whatever state you were in to now an oops, my signal got messed up a little bit there. Hopefully you can see this. So now you're going into a more optimal state. This is health. This is you finally hydrated. This is you having a daily regimen of smoothies moving through your intestines every single day. This is you also working out more regularly or more often or more intensely. This is just how much you're going to weigh. Now, if you continue with the smoothie program and you continue with the workouts, what we should start to notice is this is going to start to trend down. And this is where it gets really interesting. Comparing week 2 to week 3 is where we start to see what's truly going on with body fat. You see, all of this right here, this trend upward is how your body is adapting to more hydration, more glycogen, more edema, and more food mass. Now we've established our new baseline of greater health. What we should start to see is a trend downward from week 2 to week 3, because now we're comparing apples to apples. You get it? See, if we were going to compare week 1 to week 2, it's unfair because most of you are starting off in a completely different health state than you are in week 2. See, week 1 was to take you from wherever your body was, and most of you were in a very, very unhealthy state, and you didn't even know it. And now we are bringing you into a healthy state, right? We're hydrating you, we're nourishing you, and you're working out and you're exercising regularly. So when you week 2 to week 3, there's going to be very little difference in terms of your routine, right? You're going to be working out just as much in week 3 as you are in week 2. You're going to be eating as much in week 3 as you are in week 2. Nothing is going to be different between these 2 weeks. So this is where we can start to see, are we trending down or not? Where we're going to get concerned is if you're in week 3 and we start noticing an upward trend, that is when you give me or Brooke a call, you set up a consultation with us, and we figure out what's going on. Trust me, there's always something going on. These are the results of your body. They only happen as a result of certain biological laws. And if I mean, you know, you'll never find a situation where, let's get really dramatic here. We stop eating completely. We completely stop eating, okay? And then your weight goes up and continues to go up. Biologically impossible, right? However, I wouldn't be surprised if there are folks out there that are so committed to seeing the wrong in anything, is that they would be able to show us readings where their weight is going up and they claim that they're not eating a thing. You get it? And so then what we do is we do what's called an audit, and we look at like every single component of everything that you're eating and look at everything that you're doing, and we can every single time, 100% of the time, spot the flaw. And I don't mean to use that in terms of language and like putting you down or anybody down. It's just the flaw in the program. So if the program, any program that you're on, if it's intended for weight loss and if it's producing the result, let's be very specific, fat loss, and it's producing the goal of fat gain, then there's a flaw somewhere. Not in the program necessarily. I've found this more times than not, is that when people are on a program, they say that a program didn't work for them, it usually means that there's something they didn't do to fully work the program, not the other way around. And every time we've done an audit, we've been able to find a culprit somewhere, that's something that just was totally under the radar, that the person or the participant just they didn't realize they didn't realize that they were doing something wrong that was sabotaging the results. I'll give you an example. One time I had a client who worked with me that when I used to do personal training, and he was like, I mean, we were doing these 1 hour super intense workouts. I mean, I worked him so hard. I almost felt sorry for him. And he was losing weight just way too slowly. I mean, really slow. And I gave him, I mean, I nailed his diet. I mean, his diet was perfect. If I had him on this zigzag strategy that I only teach our students at our 2-day live events, and it's one where it's designed to build muscle and lose body fat at the same time. And he was like, he'd come in and his performance was dead on, exactly where we needed every single week. And his strength gains and everything. It just seemed like he was doing everything right. But for some reason, the body fat numbers were coming down so slow. I mean, he was probably only dropping about 3 pounds a month compared to what my average with my weight loss clients are. I mean, you know, they drop a minimum of 12 pounds a month, 24 pounds a month is totally normal too. And yet this guy was moving so slow. And then what I figured out was he admitted to me, he didn't think it was anything wrong. He asked me if coffee was okay. And I gave him an example. I told him, I said, well, you know, if you're already drinking coffee, then, and I asked him, I said, are you using creamer? He's like, no. I said, okay. Well, then I'm assuming that he meant black coffee. I said, well, if you're already drinking it, then, you know, it's not a bad idea for you to phase off of it so you're not relying on caffeine. But you don't, I mean, it's at the end of the day, it's not going to make a huge significant difference. We're going to be able to get all the weight off of you with or without coffee. It doesn't matter. But then in his mind, he interpreted me asking if he used creamer as he pouring his own creamer on top. He was drinking 2 to 3 Starbucks eggnog lattes every single day. I mean, for those of you who love to count calories, he was drinking over 2,200 calories in just pure sugar and dog crap every single day. Problem solved. We got him off the eggnog lattes and just swapped that out with like coffee and just some totally insignificant creamer of some sort. This is even before I was vegan. And boom, his weight just plummeted, just completely plummeted. Had another guy too, that every single day, like his diet looked like his diet was perfect. He said he was doing everything that I was asking to eat, and you know, he was taking pictures of it and doing his log and everything. And I just couldn't figure out why he wasn't getting more ripped. Like, I mean, this guy, I should have had him with a full-on 8-pack, 6-pack. After about 2 months of working with him. And that's how long it usually takes with my clients. Like in 2 months, we get you to 6-pack, right? And he wasn't there yet, and I couldn't figure it out. With every workout that we did, he was crushing the workouts. His strength gains were going through the roof, and his performance was unbelievable. And I couldn't figure out why I wasn't making progress with his definition. And then I find out that he was putting down about a 1/2 gallon to gallon of vitamin water every single day. So when I would ask him, how much water are you drinking? He was counting vitamin water because he thought it was just another form of water. He didn't know, well, he didn't even bother to look at the fact that it had like 22 grams of sugar for every freaking little 8 to 12 ounce serving of that vitamin water. Problem solved. We eliminated the vitamin water, put him on regular water, and then, I mean, he got just so insanely ripped. If you guys want to see a picture of what he ended up looking like, I'll just, message me at some point. I'll be happy to share it with you. It's just oh man, just some of the funniest things. But anyway, for those of you just joining in, once I stop this video, just go ahead and watch the replay, because what I did was went over what to really expect over the next few weeks. This is week 1, week 2, week 3. For those of you who are seeing a trend upward into week 2, the logs that I've seen so far, you're trending up and then it's leveling out. In the earlier part of the video, I explained exactly what that is and how this is totally normal. Let me go ahead and explain why. Why are some people seeing this? Why are some people right out the gate they're seeing down? Those people, it's for the same exact reasons. Number one, so if you're seeing an upward trend, there's a good chance that you started from a dehydrated state. Well, these people might be starting from an overhydrated state. What do I mean by that is that there's systemic inflammation. That means that their cells are holding on to a lot of excess water that they don't really need, but their body is holding on to because it thinks it's fighting a systemic illness. And so when we start to add all these amazing smoothies in that come from these wonderful ingredients, all of a sudden their body lets go of it because they're healing. So that happens a lot. So you start seeing a drop in body weight. It's not from body fat necessarily. It's mostly from detox. There's also people that are starting in a state where they also have high glycogen, and with the extra 50% workouts, they're expending more glycogen. So you're seeing the weight and glycogen starting to go down as well. Also, there's people that have they have certain digestive issues where anybody who eats lots and lots of meat on a regular basis, you see a lot of that meat, pounds of that animal products, they kind of live in the intestines, and then when you add one of these babies in every single day, it just blows it all out of their butt, literally. So you're seeing a drop in weight because they're actually experiencing a drop in total food mass, which is kind of cool, right? So hopefully that explains a lot of what's going on. If this goes over anybody's head, please feel free to ask me more clarifying questions on this. I know some of this might seem just a lot of stuff to learn. It's just, when you get to know this, when you start to understand this stuff, and when I say from a scientific level, I think more accurately, this is reality. This is what's really happening. And when you start to see things from this perspective versus trying to accumulate and associate all the various bits of information that you might have picked up from here and there, seminars that you've gone to, YouTube videos that you watched, magazine articles that you read, books that you read, things like that, unless it just becomes confusing and it becomes just overwhelming. So hopefully, if I can show you how this stuff really works, it's kind of like if I were to open up the hood to your car and start to really help you understand how your engine really works. Then it's harder to get upset about things, right? Whenever, like, if your car doesn't seem to work, it's harder to get too concerned over your car not doing the right thing, because, well, if you've got an education, you understand how a motor works, you've got to diagnose it and then solve and correct the problem. The problem happens when this is not your occupation, and if it's not your field of expertise. Okay, if you've Googled a lot and you've read a lot of books, I'm sorry, you're still not an expert. You become an expert once you've worked with thousands of people. And that way you know, because you've seen it happen, you've tested different things, and you've put people through things, and you've seen the results, and you've seen everything under the sun. Then you've got the ability to really understand how this stuff works in a way where it's just impossible to get emotionally thrown off, right? You don't start making up weird conclusions and start just making up stuff. It's all just based in reality, and it's based in the facts of what's going on. So, I'll just kind of add this too. So, I mean, for those, I know there's some of you that just really love to geek out on this type of stuff. What I want you to focus on, and just trust me, I've had decades of geeking out on this type of stuff. I've been an enthusiast for over 20 years, but I've been a professional for since 1999. What does that make me? Like 18 years doing body transformation and doing it successfully. There's a lot of body transformation people out there, but not all of them are successful. Just ask anybody to show you their last 20 clients. That'll tell you how successful any body transformation expert is. I want to share that we're going to be doing a live event, and it's going to be in Vegas. And it's kind of an exclusive thing. We haven't really talked about it at all, but we will be doing a free preview event for that, so you can see everything we're going to learn. If you want to really master this stuff, we do have a program that might be perfect for you, and it's only 2 days long. So if you're have any interest at all in learning about what that is, and just total heads up, it's not a free event. It actually costs us a lot of money to put it on. So we do charge tickets for that, but it is a 2-day intensive, and it's going to be in Las Vegas, and it's coming up in August. So if you want to find out more about that, just feel free to message me or message Brooke, and we'll be happy to share with you more details. And then I'll be putting out a really cool kind of a preview training of everything, so you can get a real taste of everything that we're going to teach you and help you master at that. Okay. If you have any other questions, just answer it right here in the comments. Okay. I love you all so much, and I'm just so proud of all of you. Good job posting, and please keep posting. I love it. I read every single one of your posts. So even if you don't see me like one, it just means that I might have seen it while I'm walking, or I might be in the passenger seat, or I might be stopped at a light. Shh, don't tell anybody that. But I am looking at every single one of your posts. So I thank you. I thank you so much. All right, that's all for right now. Love you all. Bye bye.